Welcome back on Focus Me podcast. Let's start with a simple question. When life gets loud, do you get louder too? Or do you disappear into the noise? And here's the twist. The episode today isn't about becoming silent, as in never speak. It's about learning to use silence the way high performers do, as a tool. We're unpacking the big ideas behind a book called The Silent Advantage, Mastering Yourself in a Noisy World. The core message is pretty bold. Real power doesn't shout. It watches, it thinks, and then it moves with precision. So if you've ever felt like the loudest coworker gets all the attention, or you've been drowning in notifications, meetings, and opinions, stick with us. Because the goal here isn't to win the volume contest. The goal is to win your own mind back. Picture this. You walk into a crowded market. Everyone's yelling over each other, hands waving, sales pitches flying, noise bouncing off the walls. At first, your instinct is obvious. If you want to survive, you have to shout louder than everyone else. But then you notice something. The person who isn't yelling, the one standing still, is the only one who can actually hear what's going on. They can spot patterns. They can make decisions. Everyone else is busy proving they exist. That's what the book calls the noise trap. It's the illusion that being busy means being important. More emails, more meetings, more posts, more messages, more reacting. And the scary part is that it can feel productive, while quietly stealing your ability to think. I love the image the author uses. Your mind is like a glass of water with sand in it. If you keep shaking the glass, the water stays cloudy. You can't see clearly. But if you stop shaking it, if you get still, the sand settles. The water clears. Most of us never stop shaking the glass. We keep the noise going and then wonder why we feel confused, irritated, and stretched thin. And the big takeaway from this first part is important. Silence isn't just less sound. Silence is clarity. It's the moment you can finally see what's real and what's just digital smoke. Okay, so we've got the problem. Noise everywhere. Now comes the moment where the book gives you a weapon. Small, simple, almost too easy to take seriously. The pause. Think about the last time someone sent you a rude email or said something sharp in a meeting. What happens inside your body? Your mind races. Your fingers want to type immediately. You want to fire back so you don't look weak. But here's the painful truth. The person who reacts instantly often gives away their power. They show their buttons. They show their triggers. They let someone else control the steering wheel. The book explains it with a sports example. A pro tennis player facing a fast serve. They don't just swing wildly. There's a tiny moment, almost invisible, where they read the ball. That micro-stillness is what makes their response smart instead of desperate. So the author offers a practice. The 3-second rule. Before you respond to an insult, before you jump into a debate, before you buy something you don't need, wait 3 seconds. Just 3. Not 30. Not a meditation retreat. 3 seconds that move you from pure reaction into choice. It's like being a ship captain in a storm. If you try to respond to every wave, you spin and you sink. If you look at the compass and keep your direction, you actually get somewhere. And the lesson lands hard. The person who can stay quiet just a little longer than everyone else often wins the negotiation, because they're responding with strategy, not emotion. Now the story deepens. Because even if you master the pause, you still need a place inside yourself that the world can't invade. This is what the book calls your internal architecture, your inner structure. The idea is simple. If your mood and confidence depend on what your phone says today, you're living in a house made of paper, and the world is not gentle. One bad comment, one ignored message, one stressful morning, and that paper house collapses. The author compares it to a submarine. On the ocean surface, waves can be massive, chaotic, violent, unpredictable. But the submarine doesn't fight the surface, it goes deeper. Down there, things get quiet, controlled, stable. Then comes a story. A CEO who began every day with an hour of silence. No phone, no reading, no coffee ritual, just sitting, letting his mind settle. People thought it was strange until they noticed something. He was making clearer decisions, faster, with less drama. Not because he was gathering more noise, because he was creating space for his brain to organize itself. And that's the challenge for us. Can you build a part of your day where you're not being shaped by the outside world? Where you meet yourself without distractions and figure out what you actually value? Because once you know who you are without applause, you stop chasing approval like oxygen. The takeaway: if you don't control your inner world, the outer world will do it for you. Next, the book shifts from inner strength to social strength. And honestly, this is where silence becomes a superpower in conversations. Strategic listening. We all say we're good listeners. But if we're being real, most people listen the way a runner waits for a starting gun. They're not hearing you, they're waiting for their turn to talk. And the book argues that this is a massive mistake. In business, in leadership, even in relationships, the person who listens well often holds the advantage. Not because they're passive, because they're collecting information. There's a great metaphor. A master chef doesn't dump seasoning into a pot just because they like the sound of it. They taste, they smell, they watch the heat, they pay attention before they act. Same thing in a meeting. If everyone rushes to sound smart, the room fills with noise and nobody learns anything. But the person who listens first can speak last, and when they do speak, it actually matters. The author gives a practical 3-step method. First, remove the filter. Stop judging the person while they're still talking. Second, notice the unspoken, tone, posture, what they avoid saying. Third, ask why twice. Not to challenge them, but to get deeper. Because when you ask one why, you get a surface answer. When you ask again, you often get the real reason. And here's what's wild. When people feel genuinely heard, they reveal more than they plan to. Which means listening isn't just kindness, it's intelligence. The lesson: knowledge talks, but wisdom listens. Now we arrive at what might be the most practical chapter for modern life: focus. Because we're living in an era where distraction is endless, and attention is being treated like something other people get to spend for you. The book calls it the fortress of focus. The idea is that deep, uninterrupted work has become rare. And because it's rare, it's valuable. If you can focus on one thing for a solid stretch of time, you have an advantage most people can't buy.
The author studied top performers, artists, scientists, creators, and kept seeing the same pattern. They protect quiet zones. Sometimes it's a physical space. Sometimes it's a schedule boundary. But they treat their focus like it matters. But if you build your fortress, if you choose what gets in and what stays out, something changes. You finish what you start. You create instead of consume. You get results that noise chasers can't understand. The takeaway is sharp. Your success is shaped by what you decide to ignore. Strategic listening makes you powerful, because you gather the truth while others perform. If you want, try one thing today. Just one. Pick the 3-second rule. Or block 1 hour as a quiet zone. Or in your next conversation, ask why twice and listen like you mean it.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe. Focus Me, expanding minds. Thank you.